next Tuesday, November 15th, the 2023 Grammy Award nominations will be released. And so it's time to do one of our favorite things, which is try to predict one of the most unpredictable but also predictable award shows out there, the Grammys. There's a lot to get into here. We're going to
Yep.
cover some of the major categories: album, record, song of the year, best new artist, maybe a couple others as well. But I just want to start. I think all the the time was from like last October to the end of this September.
Yep.
So
October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. That's exactly right, Pat. So you got some albums that seem a little old that are still eligible for this Grammys, like Adele's record, of course. Then you had some albums that came out in the last month that are not this Grammy period, such as Taylor Swift's Midnights. But
and
still
so
plenty of big names, of course, with this Grammy period for 2023.
a ton of big names here. Um, I think like my first question just becomes like, do we just pencil Adele and Beyonce into every category, pretty much,
I think so, honestly.
right?
Um, I think so. And this is obviously a repeat of last time around when they both dropped albums. They both dropped a huge hit record, Lemonade and what's Adele's last album called? 25, whatever
27.
whatever whatever age it was, and of course they went head to head, and now they're literally doing it again. you know, and shout out Taylor. Releasing Midnights just after the Grammy period turned because she knew she didn't want none of this, and she could just wait till next year when she had way less competition. Honestly, smart game, smart move.
Yeah, absolutely. Because not only are we getting Adele and Beyonce this year, but Kendrick Lamar.
Yep,
As much as I hate to say it, Harry Styles, who I'm
yep.
sure will be getting a lot of love at
Bad
these.
Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, how to even go this long without mentioning Bad Bunny? Um, and then we also have a couple of people that most likely deserve to be up there and possibly have the album of the year, but aren't going to get that recognition. Someone like Rosalia or Steve Lacy. So there's a lot of people to get into here. The locks at the top: Adele and Beyonce for album of the year. But after that, who would you say is like a surefire lock?
Kendrick, Harry, Bunny. I think we're finally to the point where, through sheer force of popularity, Bad Bunny is now going to be in the main Grammy categories and not just relegated to the Latin genre categories. We've talked about this the past few years. With the Grammys were ignoring the globalism of music, not just with reggaeton, but also stuff like Afrobeat with Burna Boy. Bad Bunny having the biggest tour of the year, the biggest album of the summer by far, is gonna eventually have like 6 songs off Un Verano Sin Ti, hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. Like, he can't be any bigger. And now they will no longer ignore him, thankfully. And obviously very happy to see that. It is a bit of a history making thing. Unfortunate for Bad Bunny, he's going up in the same year as Beyonce and Adele, so thanks for playing. But I do feel confident he will be an album of the year.
And we should mention, the red version of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's red version is coming out, or Red Taylor's version. I'm sorry, is coming out, or will be in this Grammy thing.
Right.
I don't know how they're really gonna approach that. All Too Well was the 10-minute version was a huge moment off that, but since it's a redoing of these songs, reimagining of these songs, I can't imagine that they're going to nominate it, but man,
Yeah.
it's in play, potentially.
It's definitely in play. And for this Grammys, the 2023 Grammys, they actually switched the eligibility where it went from 50% to 75% of an album has to be newly recorded music to be eligible to be nominated. And that was really designed to get rid of like deluxe reissues having another bite at the apple and getting nominated. Like the Black Pumas, this happened with them.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what that's going for. Taylor did technically re-record most of the music. It's kind of annoying to me. Like, it's not even any shots at like how well that was done, but like, it's a re-released record. We don't need to nominate it again. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter who made it. If you want to nominate All Too Well 10-minute version in like song or record, I have less issue with that because it's a complete rework of the song and actually like made the song more celebrated than it ever was in its original form. I think that's much more agreeable. But hey, you can't rule out the album getting in there, right? But then again, I'm assuming it's submitted. We don't know all the details on yet in terms of what artists and labels submitted what. We know The Weeknd and Drake aren't submitting their stuff, so they're out of the picture. But yeah, the Taylor stuff is in play, which is a bit odd, just because it's unusual to have something like this happen.
Completely agree. It's gonna be interesting to see how they handle it. You know, they are adding a category for like best songwriting, so maybe that will be a way to kind of give Taylor her flowers, but not have to, you know, the have the whole album be recognized. Yeah, so I agree with you. I think going back to it, Adele, Beyonce, Kendrick, and Bad Bunny seemed like surefire locks. Harry as well.
Yeah, so that's
Um,
5 right there, but you still have plenty of other options.
I would love to see Rosalia get in there as well as Steve Lacy. Those are the two I think I'm riding most for to get those other spots. What about you?
Yep, I mean those would be awesome for sure. I'm hoping Steve at least gets some love in like song or record for Bad Habit. You would assume.
Hmm.
Um, I think the rest of album of the year is kind of interesting for the ways they could go. You know, it would really signify like major change in the Recording Academy if Rosalia also get in, right? Motomami, well liked, popular from who heard it, and not that it was a tiny album, but not obviously on the stratosphere of Bad Bunny, which just became mainstream and normal, you know,
Hmm.
and standard bearing on the radio. Rosalia wasn't that, but it was a really amazing record, which I'd love to see here. I think you really can't overlook some of the more usual suspects, as it were, for categories like this at the Grammys. In play, we have albums from Coldplay and Post Malone and Lizzo and Ed Sheeran and Brandy Carlisle and ABBA's comeback album. Not to mention Phineas, who has a lot of Grammy love and attention due to his sister. You know, like
Hmm.
I saw some predicting sites noting the Encanto soundtrack. Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, very famous with awards bodies by by now. Um, Even something perhaps less celebrated, like Burna Boy and Anita. Like there's actually quite a bit of choice here. I'm just kind of curious where they go because there always are like some kind of less mainstream picks, like a John Baptiste or something. You know?
Yeah, you know, I if I had to like actually put money down on this, it feels pretty safe to me that Lizzo will probably get nominated. They want that star power. They want that, you know, performance, and just her persona in general. I think to be there. Brandy Carlisle's interesting. We haven't listened to that album. I've heard it's good. She's an artist that like I kind of wrote off. I feel like a long time ago,
Mm,
and just
yeah,
continues to put out really great work. And I should probably dive deeper into her. And then we get a little further down. It's like, you know, Elton John. This is like a collaboration album, and I could see them wanting to just kind of give him some shine. You know, I imagine there will be some sort of like performance at the Grammys where they have all
yeah.
the artists that he did collaborations with doing these songs. That's interesting. Maggie Rogers stands out as someone that they could
Oh yeah.
anoint as like, okay, like the next like Grammy artist type of thing. She's been lauded as like the second coming of, you know, pop female rock for a long time,
Yeah,
and
she's definitely a
surrenders
name to watch to see how she does here, no doubt.
surrenders up there. And then uh, you know, we didn't even talk about Blackpink. Like, are we really gonna not get any Blackpink in this? I don't know.
I think Blackpink's best chance is probably on some of the song
Yeah.
categories. I mean, just a year ago, BTS didn't get an album nom either, but they have gotten some pop vocal group performance noms, whatever the award title is these days. Yeah, I think it would be awesome if like Shutdown got a nomination in one of the song categories. But yeah, I unfortunately don't think any K-pop is gonna break through album of the year. But Born Pink would probably be the one with the best chance.
And I gotta say, like, if one thing would make me really happy, getting a Black Country New Road nomination, just like sneaking in there would like blow my mind. The thing that would kill me is if Kanye gets any love at this, because I Donda 2 is up for consideration, and that would just be a
It is
fucking
technically,
travesty.
you're right. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
there's no chance,
yeah,
honestly, after everything
zero.
that's happened more recently. And also it wasn't a good record, so
Yeah,
we don't
terrible.
need that.
All right, Dave. So now that we've kind of gone through all the possibilities, give me your like top 8 here.
Yeah, okay. So get the big five: Adele, Beyonce, Kendrick, Bunny, Harry, lock. Let's go Lizzo. Let's go Brandy Carlisle at 7. Let's go Ed Sheeran equals. That's what, 8?
It's gonna do it.
Yeah. Let's go there. Maybe we take out Ed and throw ABBA in. I kind of have a feeling ABBA's gonna get in.
Yeah, I could see ABBA getting in. I wonder if maybe Harry's house isn't going to. I don't know.
That
That's the
would
one
be
I
that would
just
be
don't want
that would be some taste, bro. That would be something to
to.
see. Like, hey,
I know.
we'll nominate as it was, but the house is staying away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to like take take one out of there, yeah, it probably would be
Right.
switching like Ed Sheeran with like Rosalia, because I could see them going international with Bunny, but I guess maybe Bunny's gonna cover that corner. I don't know. This is hard, man. There's so
Right.
many good albums this
Of
past
course,
year.
the Weeknd's Dawn FM would have been right there in the mix if the Weeknd would let his label submit it.
But fuck that. Like, why would he do that again? I don't know. They fucked him over last time. I don't blame him at all for being salty.
Yeah.
Let's move forward to record of the year though. Again, we're talking the big three at least for this one. Adele with Easy on Me, Harry Styles As It Was, and Beyonce. The one that she's submitting is Break My Soul, which makes sense. That was the single. Those three absolute locks. Lizzo with About Damn Time also seems like a lock from there.
Yeah.
But then is the TikTok sensation Bad Habit going to be in there? Are we going to
Well,
get the 10-minute All Too Well Taylor version?
that's the thing, right? And we'll just say all right at the back. Well, let's talk about record and song of the year, kind of in the same boat. They have different
Yeah.
definitions, but often the artists submit the same song for both, with a few exceptions. One is more about the words and the songwriting, as you can expect. The other one's about the whole construction of the record, the whole song itself with the music. When you look at the nominations year of the year, they're always pretty similar. So we'll just keep it all in one. Yeah, well, I would love to see Bad Habit in there because that was a song that was just straight up good when it came out. It didn't need TikTok to make people like it. TikTok made it popular, obviously, but like we liked that song the first time we heard it. It's a
Hmm.
great song. I love that song. Um, that would be really awesome for Steve to get in there. The Internet, of course, his R&B band has been Grammy nominated in the past, so it wouldn't come out of nowhere.
It would not come out of nowhere. And I think that there's a really good chance for him to get in there. One that and I also think All Too Well has a good chance to get nominated here, which would be crazy that we're going to be talking Harry, Adele, Beyonce, and Taylor, and Lizzo all in the same category. It's like insane.
Hmm.
One of the sites that I was looking at for the research mentioned we don't talk about Bruno from the Encanto cast. I mean, I didn't
Hmm.
even think about that for the Grammys, but makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Lin
I mean,
Manuel,
if the album is perhaps in the mix, then surely Bruno's in the mix.
absolutely.
I'd support it honestly. I have no beef with it as
I
getting
wouldn't
some kind of love there.
I wouldn't hate it. I think there's just other songs I'd want to get in
Yeah,
here, right? So like Kendrick submitted The Heart Part 5. I think that one would be a great song to
interesting.
put in there. Bad Bunny submitted Después de la Playa. Get that
Yep.
in there. That
After the
song's
beach.
fucking fire. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Um and then we didn't even get to some of these other ones like ABBA's song, like you mentioned, probably has a good shot of getting in there. Billie Eilish submitted TV. Jack Harlow with First Class, which would be terrible, but could get in there. I mean, what other
Yep.
songs stand out to you as possibilities?
Joji, Glimpse of Us. Anyone?
Let's go.
Could happen. Um, I'm pulling for Lady Gaga's song on the Top Gun Maverick soundtrack, "Hold My Hand," because I think that song is amazing. It's not as big as "Shallow," but I think it's still pretty darn good. Probably not gonna happen, but that's one of my picks here. I saw a lot of love for Dove Cameron's Boyfriend on predicting sites and stuff. I don't know about that one, honestly. Bad Habit, Ed Sheeran, I guess,
Two
technically.
bad habits in the same category.
That would be funny. Actually, wait, no. I think that might have came out in the last period as a single, and the
Gotcha.
album's the one that's in the mix. So maybe Ed can't be in here. I'm not sure. I did see, and this kind of confused the shit out of me. I think it was like Billboard said this. Doja Cat's "Woman" is eligible for song categories because it came out as a single on October 1st, aka day one of this period. Of course, Planet Her came out in June 2021, last year's Grammy period. Woman was on Planet Her, so why is the single somehow nominatable? I don't get it.
I have
But
no
the
idea.
Grammys are confounding sometimes. I think
Just
in terms of Doja, like the Post Malone Doja song "I Like You,"
mhm.
the biggest post song off that record. Doja had some love last year. Maybe that one could break through in something, but
And just to clean up, Ed Sheeran submitted "Shivers," not "Bad Habits." So,
yeah,
what
Bad was from
honestly,
last year.
both those songs sound the same in my head. So,
It's true.
whatever, I'll imagine it. I think this is really going to be an interesting test for how strong the TikTok like brand is at these Grammys, because the anxiety, which is Willow Smith and the other guy, uh, meet me at our spot is going to be up, is nominated or potentially nominated in this category,
Wait,
as
what?
well
It
as,
is?
yeah, and as well as I Hate You by SZA, which
Oh, right. Yes.
interesting. But those are two huge TikTok songs, so really going to test, I think, just how strong that social media site is impacting these.
Yeah.
I don't really see any others up here that really catch my interest.
I think some of the other songs that come to mind are probably for the other categories, like Coldplay BTS collab My Universe. That could be in like pop group vocal performance, whatever that one's called, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, I know there's a big kerfluffle with Nicki Minaj's Super Freaky Girl not being in rap and actually being in the pop category. Um, Nicki was trading words on Twitter with Lotto because Big Energy is actually going to be competing in melodic rap. So there's a lot of other big songs I think will probably just be in genre, like
Hmm.
those ones. But I mean, Super Freaky Girl did go number one. Perhaps slightly possible, but I probably wouldn't pick it.
Yeah. No, I think the ones that we mentioned at the top, uh, the three big songs from the three big stars there, Easy on Me, As It Was, Break My Soul, and then About Damn Time as well. I think All Too Well, Bad Habit are locks. And then I'd like to see the Heart Part 5, and we don't talk about Bruno, but I imagine Brandy Carlisle's probably going to get a song in here.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yep.
maybe Bruno gets kicked out. Maybe Kendrick doesn't get the love this time around. I really would love to see Joji get in there, though. That'd be great.
Yeah, Joji
Rooting
and
for that.
Steve both getting noms would be really nice, just for like the meritocracy of awards and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We got to talk about Best New Artist, which this is a hilarious category. We've
Every
talked about
year
it.
we say the same thing because it doesn't change.
It's nuts. And some of these artists, I really like don't know them, right? So some of the ones that seem like they have a good shot, people like Zach Bryan.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's a country artist.
Zach Bryan, lock him in. He's like I think a significant artist and justly nominated because he's like the first country artist to really blow up and target streaming music. As we know, country for a long time was much more traditional with album sales and radio and stuff. But Zach Bryan is like a true, genuine country country streaming star, and has also been really well liked. So yeah, he really makes sense actually for this award, which is nice because there are some artists that don't really make sense because they're not actually new.
Oh, do you mean like Mitski, who's been making like records since 2010? Like, I, I don't even know how she's even on here.
So the way Best New Artist works is you're allowed to submit yourself 3 times. Blackpink was technically in the mix for Best New Artist last year, the 5th year of their existence. It seems like Mitski just was not submitted formally 3 times in the past, so that's why she's technically in the mix here. But it's a ludicrous notion, obviously. Like Laurel Hell was what, her fifth, sixth record? Like,
Yeah, six. Her first album came out a decade ago. A
yeah.
decade ago.
I
Like
mean,
she's
and they
been a
just did this like 2 years ago with Kate Renata, who also had a decade long career to that point. They keep doing it. So yeah, like Mitski's I think the biggest offender this time around. I saw Soccer Mommy is still in the mix. Little TJ, like Anita, like Anita had a really big blow up in the West in the United States. Um, she's been huge in Latin circles for a very long time. Again, it's just kind of disingenuous to suggest that they're new. I saw that Twice was eligible for Best New Artist. They are a K-pop group that has already progressed through their first label contract and has renewed because a lot of time had passed. We just talked about the 11th Twice EP in August. How could you possibly call them a new artist? You know,
I I
it's
have no
wild
idea.
shit. But
It's
it's wild
crazy.
shit.
And there's some artists on here that seem like like it kind of makes sense. Black Country New Road is up,
Yeah,
which would
that'd
be
be a good
great,
one.
although they are not going to be abandoned anymore moving forward. So a
Yeah,
bit
maybe not
disappointing.
worth it. Yeah,
Joji with his third album that just came out, but only two by the time of the award window
right.
closing. So I don't mind that one so much. Same with Snail Mail, Lindsey Jordan would be great.
Yeah,
Um, but it seems like we're gonna get a pretty eclectic approach here. Lotto is like probably the most surefire lock for this category.
yep,
Um,
justly.
you mentioned Anita, Mooney Long seems like they have a good shot. Tate McRae, which I could have
Yeah,
sworn they've been around for a lot longer, but Tate
yeah.
McRae, sure,
S- I mean, it was the debut album this year,
yeah,
so
just
that
feels like
was
they've
fine.
been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Um, any others that really stand out to you here?
yeah. I mean, there's some. I'd love to see Fireboy DML get in here on the Afrobeat side of things. That'd be awesome. More eclectic, probably not likely, but Pink Panthers would come to mind here. Um, I think people that we've talked about before, like features like Blast or Omar Apollo, like rising artists, new enough to call new. Um, I don't know how likely it is, but someone I really like is an indie artist called Remy Wolf, kind of like an indie pop singer.
Mhm.
That'd be a really inspired pick because she's not super mainstream still. I think that'd be pretty cool. Um, there's other K-pop candidates, obviously, um, and notably, if you've been nominated before at the Grammys, you're not eligible to win Best New Artist anymore. So people like Steve Lacy, Jack Harlow, Thames, Chloe Bailey, all cannot be nominated. Um, Rina Sawayama apparently is still eligible. Of course, I was calling for her to be nominated last year. Now we have a whole nother Rina album has come out. Um, yeah, put her in there. This is I think notable though that this is a Best New Artist year that doesn't quite have the star power of the past few years. Like the last four winners of this award, like really can't top this. Olivia Rodrigo, Megan Thee Stallion, Billie Eilish, and Dua Lipa. Like
Yeah, no,
we don't have someone of that caliber up this year, but
no.
still a lot of talent, a lot of interesting people.
A couple of favorites of the pod that are also up for it that we haven't talked about. Kim Petras, or you might have mentioned Kim Petras actually,
Mm,
but Little Sims as well is
yep,
not potentially nominated. So
yeah,
I would really like Little Sims to get it.
yeah,
Really
that'd be
enjoy her.
awesome, huh? Oh, Kim
But
Petras, her song with Sam Smith, "Unholy," which went number one. Maybe
huge.
That's actually probably in the mix for some of the other pop awards and maybe even bigger. We should have mentioned that before.
That's a good call. Yeah, that song is everywhere right now. Yeah, this is an interesting category, and there's just no way to predict it because I think based on our tastes and things like that, I'm not totally tuned in to some of these artists,
Yeah.
so it's hard to like gauge exactly how famous they are. But
Yeah.
I look at the awards, like they give the odds and like snail mail being like the 40th best chance to like make this category. I'm like, what? How? Like, Ben
I know.
Franklin. Like, I listen to that song all the time. Like, fuck,
Yep. Love it.
crazy.
Yeah, I think someone else in the mix who I'm not really too familiar with is this teenager named Gail, who actually will be going on tour with Taylor Swift next year.
Yeah,
So
that
kind of makes sense there.
that
Oh,
Taylor Swift tour, dog. I mean, her openers are insane. Paramore, Haim, Phoebe
yep.
Bridgers. Like, what?
Someone else who I haven't seen listen to any of the ballots yet, but I think is a clear candidate for Best New Artist would be Ethel Cain, who is an indie singer who has really come on this year, and she just screams, "Oh, she'll be nominated for Best New Artist in 2 years."
Yeah,
She's like still too new, you know. So keep an eye out for Ethel Cain. But like her song was an American Teenager, I think it is. Like she's got some interesting songs and has like a uncompromising approach to like alternative and like indie music that is somehow becoming mainstream pop appealing. Interesting person to pay attention to. It would be really inspiring if someone as new in their career as Ethel Kane actually got in this category, but I'd probably pick against it this year.
I think there's any chance that we to just to circle back to the songs that we see like Pink Venom, because that was nominated for like record and song. They got to
I
get K-pop in there somehow, right? You
I
can't
would
just
I,
ignore
I
it.
would call if I would put for Shutdown. I think like I forget the names, they always change, but like the group like vocal pop
Mm,
vocal performance category, I think that's where we should push for Shutdown because that's kind of where Dynamite and Butter were nominated the last
that's
2
true.
years. So yeah, probably one day we'll get an album K-pop out in there, but like I can't see the J-Hope album breaking through
No.
to get nominated, which would have been cool if it did. I like the album, but um, for the rock album category, do you think the second Machine Gun Kelly album, Mainstream Sellout, will get nominated? Because they didn't nominate his last one, Tickets to My Downfall. Do you think second time's the charm for MGK's rock pivot?
That's a good question. No,
It
I
wasn't as
don't.
big a record this time around.
I don't think it will. I think that's going to be full of old heads, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking like Red Hot Chili Peppers had a pretty liked
Yeah.
album this past year. Jack White also had a pretty
Yep.
liked album. So I think some of those older heads will probably take the spots, but you never know. I can't get my head around the Machine Gun Kelly love. It's so baffling, and him and Megan Fox relationship is terrifying to me.
It is
Scary
something.
people.
Yeah.
Dave, any picks for the rap category? Anything that you think is going to be there?
Yeah, I think rap album actually is a bit easier to predict than it has been the past few years. If you reflect back, there's been a lot of older heads, a lot of older rappers being nominated, which has been largely a good thing for the most part. But I think this year it's pretty easy to see. Like Kendrick, missing around the big steppers,
Mhm.
nominated and winning. So move being beyond that, what else is going to happen? Well, the last time Freddie Gibbs dropped an album, he got nominated for Alfredo. Surely Soul Sold Separately, which came on the last day of the Grammy period. I think that one's pretty safe too. Jid, Forever Story. I think a lot of people would really want to see that one happen, and I think it needs to happen. That one really deserves it. And then Pusha T, another great record from him. I think those four are all pretty safe. So who's the fifth one? You have Future in the mix. I don't think Joey Badass is famous enough. Honestly, given they've been focusing on old heads, I would not be shocked to see Black Thought and Danger Mouse's cheat codes get in there. But you also have like Rock Marciano and The Alchemist's The Elephant Man's Bones coming out. It depends how like hip hop head they really get, but they kind of have been going down that road lately. You know, I'm trying to think like in terms of like younger, more Atlanta sounding stuff, like the Little Baby album isn't this period. So you have like After the Future record, which was quite big. You have like the Gunna album, Little Dirk album, Yeet. Like I don't know. Like, I can't really see any of them getting in. I have a feeling like the one thing we don't want to see is we don't want to see Jack get in there.
No,
Like that's not justified. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kendrick, Jid, Gibbs, Pusha, and Black Thought.
I like it. I think that's a good call. Any other predictions, or feeling pretty good with where we're at?
No, I think that's pretty good. I mean, I would love to know more of like it'd be really cool if we could see like everything that gets submitted because
Yeah,
obviously like artists and labels pick one song for the category or maybe they pick a few, but like what they submitted and thus what's actually getting thought about. And it's kind of hard to like do a lot of those like genre song predictions when you don't actually know what's in the mix because a lot of times the song I would pick doesn't actually get submitted, so therefore it can't even get nominated.
yeah. I think that this is going to be a year with a few surprises, but mostly locks. So uh, we might have some things to talk about. We'll be recapping it next week. So hit that subscribe on youtube.com/nostalgiapod. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment for who you think should get nominated. And if
Yep.
there's any new artists that we didn't mention that you think should be nominated, drop and tell us why we should be listening to them or reviewing them. Um, Dave, we're gonna wrap it
One
up.
last note, actually, I forgot. We should note Silk Sonic, Anderson Paak, Bruno Mars, they decided not to submit their album, which came out in this period. They decided that Leave the Door Open, which was in the last Grammy cycle as a single, they thought all the love they got for Leave the Door Open was enough, and they chose not to submit the album, which justified album to be nominated for sure, but I actually kind of respect that. They're like, no, we're happy with what happened last year. That's enough for us.
Hell yeah.
Kind of nice.
Good for them.